Stacy with my Divine Bestie Jen, and you are listening to the Divine Bestie podcast. Hi, girl.
God, I hope so.
One of these days we're gonna get it. This is so much better than last time.
I doubt it. It's who we are. It's fun.
Let's count on our fingers how many times we think our dogs are going to interrupt us today.
I don't have enough fingers and toes. I don't have enough.
As soon as we hit record, my two started wrestling around in the living room. So if you hear growling, I promise it's not my stomach. Okay, let's get some pet love. I mean, because this has been a week and we are recording on a nice, comfortable weekend because we like to be on top of our things. But this week has been somewhat traumatic in my world.
Yeah, you've had a rough week, my friend. I'm sorry.
It's been very interesting, to say the least. And of course, as I go into this, my dogs are going to be like, hey, let's get louder. My cat Pickles passed away on Wednesday or Tuesday. And I'm just, this is going to be an adjustment. Pickles was what people will say, like your soul animal. I would have to say that Pickles was definitely my soul animal, where he was everywhere I was all the time. And it was just one of those cats and he was the perfect size. He had the little white paws and he was a big, fat, fluffy tabby. So he was all about, just flopped wherever you were and hung out wherever you were and pickly poo. Yeah. So it's been a very interestingly rough week. So hold your pets tight, you guys, and give them love.
How did you choose his name?
Max.
Because it's such a fun name.
I'm sorry. My husband, Max, picked it out. He, so how we found my little guy was we went to a market up in, I live in Florida. So Weeki Wachee, they have a weekend market in the summertime, and they close for a couple of weeks and they reopen later in the fall. So it was one of their last weekends of this market, and they were giving away free kittens. And it was the strangest time because the day before was the day I met the horse that I was telling you about.
Yeah.
And the day before that, I left Ohio because my daughter I have autoimmune issues, as most of you guys know, but she told me that I was a drug addict and I had to leave Ohio because it was one of those things that Jennifer and I are very, very big on boundaries. And it doesn't matter whether or not they're blood or your children, there are certain boundaries that you should not allow people to cross. And with my illnesses and for them to say things like that, I was just done and heartbroken. And so the next day I had met the horse, and the very next day was a Saturday. And my husband was like, you need a morning out away from everything. Let me take you to this market. They were giving away free kittens. And for months I was looking for my cat, like a cat for Stacy to have, because my husband is like my youngest daughter, who can just, any animal comes near them and they are their best friend. So I always I never get a pet. And I wanted my own. So they were giving away free kittens and there was 2 left. And I looked at my husband. I was like, oh, this is it. This is the cat. I need the cat, the one with the paws. And I brought home Pickles, and he was indeed my little buddy. So it was really cool, though, when he passed. I had left him alone and just let him be. And he always stayed near me. So he wasn't feeling so hot. And I scooped him up and I brought him out to my husband. And I'm like, I'm really worried about him. I think we need to go get him checked out. And I kissed his head, and then he was gone. And it's just one of those things of how perfect in a way, and what a gift. My husband was like, he was yours. Like, he just wanted to be with you.
Yeah.
And the strangest part about all this is he doesn't feel gone. Because I can do what I can do. So it's been a little bit of a mind screwy thing because I feel him so deeply. Mm-hmm. And the habits of, hey, Pickles, or, Pickly Poo, where are you? And it's been interesting to watch the animals react to this, because within a month of getting Pickles, we got Milo. Milo was given to us from a woman in Walmart. Long story there. And then we got Phineas because we found Phineas outside after the hurricanes.
Oh,
And
I
he was like 2
remember
weeks
that.
old. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was literally about 2 weeks old that I've nursed him. So the three of them grew up together. And
Yeah.
so Phineas has been walking around the house like lost.
Yeah.
And it's been really, he's literally laying next to me as we talk. But it's just, it's been an adjustment. And then husband Max ended up in the hospital over his kidneys, and that's been a whole situation, but it's fine. But the pet loss has been deep, and
it can be profound.
it can be
very profound. And
you
I
don't
think
about it.
No, I was gonna say, I think not a lot of people, I think there are some people who don't realize, especially if you're not a pet person, and there are people who are not, and that's totally okay. It's not your jam. Some people might not be able to recognize just how profound the death of a pet can be. Pets, if you're a pet person, pets give you unconditional love. They're the ones who, you're having a bad day, they're gonna show you love no matter what. You got rejected by somebody, they're not going to reject you. You're having a great day, they're going to celebrate with you. They're there through thick and thin. This conversation reminds me of, frankly, my mom.
Yeah.
And we had, when I was, I think, 10, I came home from some weekend sleepaway camp to a surprise, and my parents had adopted a basset hound puppy. And they're just cute, right? Like,
yes.
with the ears, and they trip over them.
Yes.
And my mom named him Barney. And, just like Max, my mom has that personality where she walks in the house, and no matter what house she's in, the animals just go to her. My grandmother, her mom, was the same way. This was her dog.
Yeah.
So when my dad was diagnosed with cancer, and he ended up, spending, the year that he battled it, more in the hospital than out, Barney was her companion through the whole thing. Yes, she had family. Yes, she had friends. But I'd wake up in the middle of the night, and I would hear her crying, and she was holding Barney, and unfortunately my dad did not win the battle. So when he died, that connection became even stronger, and she would just hold that dog and cry. And I remember, like, when he was dying, and I was just like, oh, because now I think he lived to be, oh gosh, I don't know, 12 or 13. And I truly thought, Stacy, I thought my mom might need to go talk to a counselor after Barney died, because that connection was so profound. So no, Stacy, that I cannot only sympathize, but I can empathize with you. And I will say to you what I have said to many people: this is a time to grieve, and to eventually learn to cope with the loss of Pickles. Because people will say time heals all wounds. It doesn't. It's not about
learn to live
healing.
with it.
It's about coping, and
Yep.
it's about learning to live honestly with a hole in your heart.
Yep.
And you learn to fill it with memories and with fun stories. So I encourage you and anybody else going through any type of loss to keep talking about him or her. Always have pictures of Pickles around, share those fun stories, because that's one of the best ways you can cope and feel the feel, Stacy, because it's totally okay. It's totally okay. And I'm just and I know it was sudden and unexpected.
Absolutely.
And that can be some of the
and
hardest.
he was only a baby. I mean,
I know.
he was like
Yeah.
a year old. Literally, I only had him for the year.
Yeah.
And it's funny how we're doing this podcast.
Yeah.
And I told you when we started,
take your time. It's okay. Take your time.
That I was going to listen to Tay Tay in the background, to keep. And as we're talking, the songs.
Oh, what songs? Take your time.
You're greater than the whole world. Because it's over. Oh gosh, you guys, this was not the way it was supposed to go today.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But
Look, I mean, I think that's one thing that we've tried to convey to you guys is that with us, what you see is what you get. And we're going to be really honest with our emotions because we're committed to being transparent with you and honest with you and be authentic with you. So if we're going through a rough time and we're willing to share it on here, we're going to get emotional.
yeah,
We might cry. We might get frustrated. We might even show some anger because that's real. We're humans. We have this beauty called emotions, and sometimes these emotions are amazing, and sometimes they drag us down. But we're not going to fake it with you guys. So what
never.
Stacy is showing you and telling you, it's where she is, and Stacy, just like be you, be you.
It's just so funny to me though how I'm a girl of signs, and it sounds so cliche to say, "Oh, it's a sign," but you guys, of all the songs to come on at the time when I'm on shuffle talking about this and this song, if you've ever heard it, I cannot think of the name of it because I'm just too much in my feels right now. But it's the one where she's saying goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. You're greater than the whole sky, and it's that whole gut wrenching. Oh my gosh, like, but he got me through. The friend had also had a complete my good friend, the one I was telling you about with the horse, had also had a huge transition in their lives, and I had to step back from them. So I had lost them. I had lost my daughter. My other daughter's been estranged from me forever. And this cat comes into my life, and it's like all of a sudden I can focus on, okay, I'm not going to lose you. You're not going to go away because you're a little animal and you're a baby and we have all this time together and we're going to live together and you're going to be my partner.
And he was. And he was. And I can only share with you, Stacy, what I believe. And I'm certainly not pushing my beliefs onto you or onto anybody else.
Of course.
And I will say very openly, this is one of the ways that I was able to cope after my dad's death, because he died young. He was only 44. I truly believe that all living things, they have a purpose and there's a path. And for some reason, I don't know why, I'll figure it out when it's my turn to have a conversation above. Some of us have shorter paths than others, and some of us complete whatever purpose we are here to fulfill earlier than others. Sometimes it's within hours. Sometimes it's over a century. I don't know. So do I find it coincidental that Pickles came into your life during a challenging time? No, because I don't believe in coincidence.
Yeah, there's no such thing.
For whatever reason, Pickles finished his path in a year and a half with you. Doesn't make it any less sad. It doesn't make it any less heartbreaking at all. I'm not taking that away either.
Oh no, yeah.
I just, so again, it's like one of those times where you can have what might be like opposing thoughts and feelings, but it's okay to have these feelings that do seem to conflict. It's okay to be sad, but then also think, but he must have finished what he was here to do. So if he was here for a purpose to get you through this time, obviously this is his way of saying, okay, mama, you're ready to take that next step and you don't need me for it. But I'm always here for you.
I was going to say he's always here. Absolutely. And like I told you, I can still feel him. The other thing I'm learning is that I have a feeling of death that I never knew I had. And it showed up when my husband's dad passed, right before my husband and I divorced. I could feel heaven on him before he was diagnosed with his cancer that he passed from. When my mom was ill, I could feel it on her, but I had also had a dream. But towards the end, same feeling. And the same thing with Pickles. I had changed my profile picture 2 weeks ago to his face. And I remember thinking to myself, this is going to cement it, Stacy. Don't do this because something's going to happen to him. And I'm like, that's the devil talking. I'm listening to demons. No. And then no, it was my intuition.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that frustrates me about, and I'm going to jump on that crusade, guys. And remember, this is for entertainment purposes only and my personal beliefs. So don't come after me. This is where I get frustrated with some of the belief systems of Christians who do believe in demons, because that wasn't a demon giving me that negative thought that I started questioning. That was God going, I need you to know this is going to happen.
Mm-hmm. And even if you hadn't posted that picture on social media, it was still going to happen. You know, that didn't make it happen.
Right.
You know, it just happened to coincide, and it gave you, you know, that information, you know. Do you remember, sorry, like something shiny.
No, it's okay. I love shiny things. They're so pretty.
You know, like when you said, you know, obviously there are belief systems that believe that there are, you know, bad things that walk the earth. Not saying it doesn't happen. But do you, that being said, do you remember, oh gosh, it's been several months now, when my daughter and I were first like, oh, maybe there is stuff going on up here.
Right.
And you were just, and I started telling you about it, and you're just like, that's a demon. And I was like, Stacey, I don't believe in demons. And essentially what you said to me was, you might not believe in demons, but there's something not good there. So you got to fear it. And I'm like, okay.
I don't have to call them if they're not good. There's a very
I just call them not good.
There's a very heavy soul. Did I ever tell you about the dark house?
No.
I've talked about it before in other podcasts and other radio appearances, but down in St. Pete, about 10 to 13 years, between 10 and 13 years ago, I want to say maybe even 14 years ago, I had gone to a house for a session, because I used to do in-person sessions, and I would go to people's houses until my best friend and my husband both told me, you keep going to strangers' houses and we're going to have a problem. So I stopped. But
Gee, I don't know why.
No clue.
I mean, personal safety.
Yeah. What's a good, never mind. What's a good story? So at this house, I walked in, and I have never felt so sick. And I have never felt so heavy, and I had never felt so exposed. And I remember just praying and praying and praying and praying and praying and praying. I'm like, Holy Spirit, God, please surround me in your light. And leaving there. And for the next night, I had a party. And at the party, it was like the darkest party I'd ever had. It was all about SA and unaliving people.
Yeah.
And all these awful, gut-wrenching things. Well, one of the little girls there that lived at the house came out of her room, and she's like, Mommy, I'm so sorry, but God told me to give this to Miss Stacy. And it was like a crystal. And I'm like, okay, maybe this might change up my energy, or at least give me something to like rub while I'm talking, because at this point I'm freaking out. I broke the crystal in half.
Oh.
Like, you can I still talk to these people, so I will have them tell you this is a true story.
Yeah.
To this day, I believe that all that energy that I picked up at that house got put into that crystal. And I do believe that somewhere, somehow, there's got to be there's got to be a connection with crystals and like energy and that kind of stuff, because as soon as it broke, everything in the party changed. The stories, the people who came through, everything changed. Everything changed.
I hope that like they buried the crystals or something, or did something with them to.
They lived by the water, so we just tossed them.
Okay.
I never thought of myself to be a believer in that kind of thing, but when you see, I'm a seer to believer, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course.
And so to see this, I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
And then for months on, if I ever have, I don't keep crystals on me because I break them or crack them all the time.
Yeah.
So it's very fascinating to me. I'm always like, in my past life, do you think I was a witch, or do you think I was this, or do you think I was that? And what if my energy's all funky? I mean, these kind of things play in my head because I have these gifts, and have I always had these gifts? Is this my soul?
Yeah.
You know, It's
Yeah.
very fascinating to me.
Are you able to do your own past life regression to figure all that out?
No.
Or do you have to go to somebody else?
Um,
Am I putting you on the spot?
no, it's just interesting because no, I can't. And the only person that has been able to do this with me is my friend CJ. And CJ and I have this stupid bond where we can sit across the room from each other and write on a piece of paper what we're thinking and have a conversation without words, and it be on that piece of paper together. He and I are just two peas in a pod. The difference between him and the friend that I can't feel is that I can feel CJ. And there was one day where we did a past life regression together. He talked me into it because he's like, oh, I've got to know how we know each other. I've got to know where this comes from. Because CJ is a very straightforward, analytical thinker, works in the financial field, doesn't believe in any of this. And he's like, but here's this woman who's older than me, has 3 kids, and I have this magnetic connection with her. I need to figure out what the freak is going on. So he brought me to a psychic, which I was completely against, but I did it. And she told us that we had a deep spiritual bond and we've known each other our entire existences, and that we're like siblings, that we've always been twins in all of our lives except this one. And I was like, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. She did tell me I lived half in heaven. And of course I went in there like gangbusters with my arms closed. And I'm like, you don't know me. You're not going to know me. And she's like, everybody pays attention to your brother. You're never going to fit into society because you're not supposed to, because you live half in heaven. You're one of the most powerful souls anybody could ever come across. And you're a magnet for children and animals. And I was like, you don't know me. But
apparently she did.
And so after this, CJ and I were like, okay, let's do a past life regression. I'm like, I can't, but I can do it on you. And all of a sudden he was in the Civil War, and in one of our lives together, I was a slave. And I had kept having this reoccurring dream of being, I'll just say it, burned alive at the stake with my 3 kids. And I mean, Jennifer, I could feel the fire. And that came back up while I was talking to him. And I was crying. And he was like, what is your problem? I was like, you had me killed.
Oh, boy.
We were together. Those are his kids. They found out, had me killed. And I was like, and then they killed you. And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, no, watch. And I've never seen him without clothes on, you guys. We were not those kinds of friends. And I moved my hand down his back and I stopped. And I was like, lift up your shirt because you have a birthmark right here, because this is what killed you. And he had a birthmark this big on the middle of his back. And I believe that was a gunshot. I'm just saying. Could be nothing, but
could be something.
What are the coincidences? There are no coincidences.
Nope.
So I'm just saying, we should do a past life regression on you one of these days. I can't help it. I keep thinking that you are like some kind of priestess, or like you've always been a teacher. You've always been somebody who leads, and it feels like your past life, like this very last one you had, you were a man who was a professor.
That's so funny because like in this life, so true story. So my sister and my mom are in education.
Really?
Yes. My mom did high school math. You would think that my sister and I would have been whizzes in math. Not so much. Math for me finally clicked in high school. But up until then, it was, the fights that we would get into at home with my mom, who was a math teacher. Because apparently we didn't think she knew what she was talking about. Go figure.
You guys sound like my kids and my husband.
Yeah. My sister went into elementary education, and she's not in the classroom anymore. She does curriculum writing now. But initially, she's in the classroom teaching kindergarten. And one day she was like, hey, you're coming in town. This was years ago. She goes, come visit me. I want you to, see my classroom and meet my kids. Okay. Now, I will say my sister when she was still in the classroom, she wanted to work at Title I schools. She wanted to work. She didn't ask for the schools that, were not Title I. That's all I'll say. She loved working with that population. And to this day, she still does. So it's funny that you say to me that it sounds like I was a professor or a teacher of something, because I went to go visit her, and I'm going to be generous and say I lasted 10 minutes. 10 minutes in her classroom with her little 5-year-old, and she had an assistant. And I was like, I gotta go, because it was, and I get that there's a different energy with 5-year-olds versus 15-year-olds. I think they both have their own challenges, but just to be in a room with a whole bunch, and they're all coming at you. And at that time, neither one of us was married, so of course we had the same last name. And so all I'm hearing is Miss Burnett, Miss Burnett, Miss Burnett. And I'm like, oh. I'm like, I'm out. So there is very much a skill to being a teacher. And I have such respect, and I know she's my sister. So you're going to be like, well, yeah, you're supposed to say this. She is phenomenal. I've seen her in action. And I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
There's
certain people that just
I'm so in awe of her. I don't think she even knows this. So I can't wait for her to hear this recording. I'm in awe of what she can do. So again, when you say you think that I was like a professor or a teacher sometime in another life, that just makes me laugh, because not this lifetime, my friend. There is no way.
And it has to be because of that. If you make sense to you, like, especially if you're a professor to adults, because you've always been the higher uppy. You've always been that person who works with the grownups, that teaches the grownups. Now, see, I'm the crazy one who used to volunteer and be that classroom aide and work in those classrooms. I love it. I love it. I love the energy, but I'm also like, wee! And that's how I met Max, was that I was working in 4th grade, and he was my youngest daughter's assistant teacher. And that's how we met. We had lunch together by accident, and, we just clicked. And I really assumed that there's something with a man who can actually connect with kids. Mm-hmm. It's, people generally go, oh, well, woman. No, to watch a man do it is just, I have so much admiration. And his specialties are the kids who are struggling, the kids that have behavioral issues, the kids who, he does a lot of ESE work, and he does a lot of that stuff. And it's just, it blows my mind, because it takes a very special person to go in front of those kids, control the classroom, organize that classroom, and keep those kids engaged. Yeah. It blows my mind. So you guys never underestimate yourselves. If you're a teacher, you guys do not make half, not even a quarter of what you should be making. You guys are probably one of the most unappreciated professions out there. So we're giving you props today. So thank you, teachers. But thank you. But definitely a professor. Definitely. Like, I could just feel it. Like, and it's so weird, because it's like the 1900s. Like, you've got the weird hat, and you've got and it's not in America. This is like in England, like Europe. And you've got the weird hat, and you're pointing with the little pointy thingy, and you're like, no, this is the way this is going to go.
Oh, that's so me.
But you were a man.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love that. Another past life that you've had before, you used to, you're going to think I'm insane, but that's okay. I am. I keep also seeing you being an oh my gosh.
Indigenous?
Yes, gotcha. That. Because you always hunted and walked. I don't care what you say. I will fight it to the death of you. You love walking. Walking is a thing. And that's part of who you are as your soul, is because of that walking. It's the trust upon yourself, and you have killer instincts. It's one of those things of, like, you hear something, and almost before you hear it, you're already turning around. You're still like that. And that's a part of that life, because we carry bits and pieces of lives with us.
Yeah.
If you do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. That's interesting.
It's so fascinating.
Because I couldn't hunt today. I'm like right now where I am, it's officially deer hunting season. And I'm like, all the deer, come to my field. You're safe here. We're not going to hurt you. If you stay here, you won't be killed.
How long does deer hunting season last?
So here's what we learned. Apparently, like right now where we are, for a week or so, it's like bow and arrow only. It's weird. And then it progresses to like, they have certain phases, and then like bucks only. I don't know. So they're like, for a month, it's very specific. And then from like mid-October or November or something like that through like February, it's like, go have a good time.
That's so fascinating.
I don't know. But again, deer come to my place because this is where you're going to be safe.
I want to come up and visit so bad. I want to see fall foliage, because in Florida, we don't get that unless the tree's dying. I had such a hard time last year. So you're going to laugh at this. Actually, you all are going to laugh at this, especially if you know me. We went up to Ohio. So my daughter and I patched things up, and we talked and worked everything out. Long story short, too many people got into our relationship, and too many people were putting things in her ear. Long story short, kids and I went up north when we were getting one of the hurricanes. And when I came, there's fall foliage. I didn't know that salt water killed trees. And so last year there was all this.
Does.
And it's not funny, you guys. It's not funny because we were underwater. My house is a hurricane house. But all the trees died and all the plants died. And here I am going, we're getting an early fall. Yeah, no,
they're dying.
They're dead. Yeah. So that was my early fall. That was my fall foliage for last year in Florida.
Well, lessons learned.
Yep. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. And there's not going to be any hurricanes. I don't see any hurricanes like that this year. Maybe next year, but not this year.
Nice.
Yeah. When you guys have got to know, if I see something or feel something, I will be the first. I pinky promise to be on this podcast. You will hear it first.
Yeah.
For any weird predictions.
You're not seeing, because we're about to hit peak season.
We're in peak. We are in peak. I used to study meteorology. I always wanted to be one. Ironic, right? Especially for all my gifts. And right now we are.
Can you imagine? I'm sorry. Listen, the boss is telling me that it's going to rain tomorrow. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to rain tomorrow.
I've had those conversations with a lot of different meteorologists. I used to fangirl over meteorologists. I could talk to celebrities all day long. I have a client list of celebrities. Talk to a meteorologist, forget it. I'm like trembling. I am a nervous wreck.
Oh,
it's so ridiculous because they're so cool. They're so smart. Yeah. They're so like, if you knew what it took to like do all the mathematics, and they are literal scientists. Yeah. You know, they're having to redo things just to see how it goes. Yeah. It's not just looking at a map going, oh, well, that front's going to come here and it's fine. They have to do the math to find out where the front is going. So it's just cool.
Yeah.
Maybe I was a meteorologist in a past life.
Who? What?
Maybe I was a meteorologist.
Maybe.
In a past life.
Mean, you have a passion for it. It's interesting for you, or some type of scientist, because it's nothing but science, you know?
I love science.
Yeah.
Love science.
Yeah.
You also have weird dreams too sometimes. And you guys have got to understand something. Jennifer and I, as long as we've known each other, we don't dive into each other's lives because I like to do things like this with her.
Yeah, we don't understand that when she and I talk 18,000 times a day. This is not what it is. We're friends, and we just, shoot the breeze. It was funny because it's been a couple weeks now. You happened to call me when I was hanging out with my sister and brother-in-law, and you just launched. I mean, there was no soft launch. No. It was like hard in your face. Here we go. And it was only because you felt such a strong connection to them. And so you don't know this, Stacy. I was talking to my sister the other night and I was like, hey, man, I thought your husband was gonna like pass out. He just couldn't believe what Stacy was saying to him. And she goes, essentially what she said was, is that how it always is? Like, does she always do that? And I was like, no, understand that when Stacy and I talk, it's like just talking to anybody. We just, how's your day going? How many times have you texted me saying, what you cooking for dinner? Although I know that you know what I'm cooking for dinner, you're still texting me saying,
I gotta make conversation.
Yeah, she's just like, I have to know how to talk to people. I can't always just like go at them and be like, hey, by the way, your grandma's here.
Do you know how hard it is to be a normal person? Like legit. And it's weird because like the one person I can't feel, I go to them and I'm like, you have to use your words with me. You actually have to talk to me. Yeah. And they're like, why? And I said, because unlike everybody else, I can't feel your thoughts. Yeah. I can't tell where I am, what you're doing, how are you? I actually have to hear about it. There have been 1,000 different times where I have been like, I just know when to call you, or I know when to like check in with you, because it's weird but you do the same thing.
Yeah.
You and I have that little connection.
Remember that one day, this was again, I don't know, probably 2 months ago. I don't know. And I was having a rough day and I was questioning a lot of stuff. And all of a sudden you just called me and you said, what's going on? And I said, what do you mean? And she said, and you said, what is going on? God told me I needed to call you now. And I was like, oh my gosh, you don't understand, Stacy. Every night in my prayers, one thing I consistently say right now is, if I'm not on the right path, if I'm not on the path I'm supposed to be on, I need you to yank me back on that path. Do you remember that? And you were just like, you started crying. You said, oh my gosh, God is using me to yank you back on the path. I said, yeah, he is. Because I was in a point where I was like, I don't know if this is right. I don't know if this is the path I'm supposed to be on. I don't know. I know I'm supposed to trust right now, but I'm struggling. And you were just right there going, what's happening? Because God told me to call you.
There are just yesterday I had noticed, I sent you the text message conversation I had with a friend, because, so let me set the scene. I was on Facebook and I saw some of the friend's father-in-law comment on the friend's post. Immediately, I felt a woman, a girl. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. I'm like, but there's like, I'm logically based, you guys. If you knew me, I'm a very analytical human being. This whole weird thing that I have completely defies everything I believe. All of a sudden, I had to text a friend and I'm like, I need to know about your sister-in-law. Is she passed? Like all of a sudden, I'm like, I need you to know this. And I don't know why, after all this time of knowing you, this is coming up. And I don't even know why I'm saying this to you. And I'm really sorry. And they're like, it was her anniversary of her death this last week. And my friend's spouse had been at the gravesite with their parents. And it's just like, whoa, like, come on. It's that stuff where God just taps. That's why I'm like, this isn't demonic. This isn't, when people are like, oh, psychics and mediums. I'm not a psychic or medium. So I just, it's God. It's God. It doesn't matter what religion you believe in. There's God. People go, oh, the universe. No, that's God. Oh, my spirit guides. And I'm sure I'm going to piss a lot of you New Age people off. No, they're guardian angels. End of story. And I can say that because I have about a 95 percentile of being right with everything I talk about and everything that I do. So I'm just saying.
I do want to just add to it, and I'm saying this from personal experience with Stacy. You got to pay attention to what she's saying and also to what she's not saying. So I'm going to give you an example.
I don't know what you mean.
And this is a really silly example. I think I've mentioned this a couple of times. I'm like, yay, my washing machine is working again. So, during the retrograde, things just went crazy. And for me, my washing machine stopped working. you and I were on the phone one day, and I said, yeah, the repair company is coming out today. They're saying sometime between like 1 and 5. I really hope that they get here early. And you're like, probably between 11 and 12. Well, that didn't happen. But here's what did happen. That repair company couldn't fix it because it was under warranty.
You guys
And there was
have no
actually
idea.
a recall. And we
Where
had
did
to
the
go
ads
through a certain
go?
company for the recall.
Yeah.
So we schedule that company, and they're like, we'll be there between 10 and 2. Well, by golly, they showed up at 11:30. And I was like, ha, 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 ha. What you didn't say to me was what day of the week and that it was going to be a different company. All you got was, no, I'm seeing between 11 and 12. And you were right. So that's what I say to people, because I know that people have gotten back to, and you're like, you weren't accurate. You were wrong about this, which by the by, that's, words hurt, so just be mindful.
Yeah.
She's giving
Because you don't
Stacey,
think about, okay, I'm going to interrupt you, and I'm so sorry, but this is one of those moments of, I heard from a client this last week, I think it was Monday or Friday of last week, where they had come for a session and they were like, you were wrong. You told me I would meet the love of my life by March, and I haven't met anybody. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. That sucks. Turns out that they met somebody at a party around Valentine's Day, and they blew them off. And that person found them again in the last few months. And now they're like heavy in love and everything's going well. And she's like, I thought that when you said I would meet my person, that everything would take off and just go by then. And that's not how you guys, we can't just think of that. That's not how the universe works. That's not how God works. No, if I say August, that doesn't mean this August. It's not concrete. That's all I always say. You're in charge of your own fate and destiny. I can tell you, you're going to get in the car and you're going to go to Home Depot and you're going to buy a plank of wood. Are you going to get in the car? Are you going to buy the plank of wood, or are you going to buy the dish detergent? You have that power to change what I'm going to say. And that's why God gave us free will.
Yep.
I'm just saying. Sorry.
And as you said to me when we were talking about this before, you're like, I can say August, but is it August of 2025? Is it August of 2028? You don't know, and I think that's what a lot of people think when they talk with you, is that you're going to go down to the exact, minutia. And it's not quite that way. That's why I said, pay attention to what she says and pay attention to what she's not saying. And I will reinforce, but I'll say it in my own language. We all have the right to self-determination. Again, two sides of the same coin. We talked about this on one of our very first episodes. Mm-hmm. So, what Stacey is talking to you about is what she is being told by God at that moment. But at any time, you can do something different and everything changes.
It's one of those things that pregnancies, oh my gosh, even to actually, not true. Both of my, so when Emily got pregnant with Emily's my oldest daughter. When she got pregnant with my granddaughter, I didn't know. My son knew. When she was pregnant this time with the twins, I didn't know about it. My son knew. And he told us there were two. I didn't know. But I can feel the babies, like they're here. I can talk to them and I can feel them. And like, even with my granddaughter, we have such a weird connection where since the second she was born, I can tell Emily what she needs as she needs it. When she couldn't talk, Mom, what does she need? What does she want? And that we were able to do that with pregnancies and clients. One of my favorite clients, we've become friends with, beautiful couple, have a little girl, and they had a lot of failed pregnancies, and they were just desperate to have one more child, just desperate. And they've been trying for over 6 years. And I held her, she's at this table, and I held her hand and I said, you're going to be pregnant in the next couple of months. She's waiting. And she starts sobbing. There's no way, I'm in my 40s. Like, no, just trust. You got to give it to God. That baby is now, I think, around 7-8 months old. Beautiful little girl. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I can feel souls. I can feel births. I can feel death. I can feel it all. And some people are going to say, oh, well, can you get, oh, I want to get pregnant. Well, do you have somebody to get pregnant with? Are you going to do the deed to get pregnant? And you know what I mean? It doesn't just immaculately happen, you guys. So, oh, am I going to get married one day? Do you want to?
Right.
You know, it's fascinating to me because sometimes I get clients who just want me to tell them all this stuff, and I can't. I'm not going to.
No, and here's the other thing. You got to put in the effort.
Y'all,
You know, I mean,
you guys.
that's just how life is. You know, let's take it to a concrete level, all right? Because sometimes it makes more sense that way. You have a job and you see another position at a higher level and you want that position. Okay, you can't just want it.
Mm-mm.
What effort are you going to put forth to earn it? So same thing, you know, Stacey, am I going to get married? Like you said, well, do you want to? What efforts are you going to put out to, you know, and by that, are there things that you need to work on yourself? Like you had said in the last episode, you know, do you know your non-negotiables? Like what efforts have you put in? Because that's what a lot of this is about is, you know, you get out what you put in.
And my loves, most of the women that I do work with on occasion stop going towards the potential of what somebody can give you and start going to what they are giving you.
Oh boy, that's a whole other.
That's going to be a part two. That's going to be its own little podcast. Ooh. Be prepared and stay tuned for that one.
To be continued.
To be continued because, just saying.
Yeah.
But we are in charge of our own fate and destiny. And, you know, this whole past life regression thing, that it's been a big topic lately between Jen and I, because as life has continued to happen to me, and I say that because I was accused of self-sabotage this week. And I went to Jennifer because Jennifer is a professional when it comes to this stuff. And I can say to her, hey, am I being this way? Give it to me hard because I'm always in the mindset to change. And you can't change until you're ready to change. And until you start recognizing your own issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean, oh, well, my husband said I'm bipolar or bitchy. No, I mean, why did you act this way? What triggered you to act this way? And to really get down and dirty and honest with yourself about the things that you do in your life, and being really down and dirty with yourself about your contribution to your own problems, because you're in charge of your own fate and destiny. If you don't like the position you're in, get out of it. I'm a big believer in that. I was 300 and something pounds. I lost 160 of it with diet and exercise because I didn't want to be fat anymore. Being sick like I am and being overweight like I am and not having any control over it is driving me absolutely bananas because I am a girl of action. When this person told me that, I went to Jennifer and I'm like, my cat died. My husband's in the hospital. My husband lost his job because of the county with schools and the whole mix-up of that. Life has been very difficult for me since I was a child. And I believe it's because of my gifts and because how can I be humble enough to understand people at a different level without being brought down to that level, if that makes sense. How do you get humbled? How do you understand perspective if you haven't seen things or heard things? I mean, when I was in high school, I missed being run over by a millisecond when the group of friends that I with were all run over. I mean, weird, like you guys have no idea the tragedies and the crazy stories I could come up with that I should not. I experience probably monthly when most people only experience these major events once in their lifetime. So it irks me, Jen, and it still irks me because how is that self-sabotage? How is that?
So let me hopefully resolve this for you. Okay. So here,
please,
for you and for anybody else who has ever been accused of self-sabotage, or if you're questioning if you engage in self-sabotaging behaviors, here is the exact definition. Self-sabotage is when you engage in behaviors or thoughts, okay, especially behaviors or thoughts that are involuntary or unconscious, that can be harmful to your own intent or your own outcome. So are they involuntary oftentimes? Are they unconscious oftentimes? Yes. Your cat dying, how did you engage in involuntary or unconscious behaviors to cause your cat to get sick?
I didn't.
You didn't. How did you engage in involuntary or unconscious thoughts or behaviors that caused your husband to get a kidney stone?
I
And
didn't.
need to be hospitalized because it was so bad, which, by the way, a lot of people have to go to the hospital for stuff like that because it can get very out of control.
Yeah.
What thoughts or behaviors that were involuntary or unconscious on your part caused the Pasco County school system to go off the rails temporarily? But life happens, and sometimes, and it can feel very unfair to those of us it's happening to. Life happens hard. Life can happen fast. Life can be relentless. And some of us have a much longer path with that relentless life happening stuff. And it can almost feel like you have a black cloud over you.
What?
That doesn't mean, but that doesn't mean that you're self-sabotaging. Self-sabotage is all about you. And again, it's typically unconscious that you're doing it, and you don't realize that you're engaging in it. But there's a lot of things that are frankly just out of our control.
When that pastor to that church looked at me Super Bowl Sunday and said to me, "I'm confusing God and the devil," and told me that I was the abomination to the congregation, and then said to me that my life is the way that I am because God's punishing me. Jen, that stuck with me.
Yeah.
It's like, and then I question, like, how can God be punishing me if I'm doing it all in his name? If I'm doing it all, I've shown people God. There have been so many times I've had sessions where there's been a mother, oh, I'll never forget this. Sorry, I'm going to get emotional. This poor woman lost her child, lost her baby, and lost her husband within months of each other. And she was just done.
Sure.
She didn't believe in God. She didn't believe in anything. And by the time we were off the phone with each other, she was sobbing and reading her Bible.
Yeah.
Because she thought that she had just been left. And I was like, I'm a big reason, oh my goodness gracious. I'm a big believer of perspective. And I'm a big believer of telling people and showing people the whys when I can.
Yeah.
If God gives me the why, I'm going to tell you about it. And there was a lot of whys, you know.
Yeah.
God has a bigger plan than what we can understand. And it's not our job to question it. It's not our job to understand it. It's our job to do our best, to love as hard as we can, and to be as good as we can while going through it. And being an asshole to somebody because you're having a hard time is no excuse.
No. And I want to go back to something that you said about, you know, when you got that message from the pastor versus what I have a feeling what you were thinking. I don't know if you actually said in response to the pastor, and I'm going to paraphrase, I don't agree with you, and here's why I don't agree with you. And then you said, you know, I'm doing things in God's name, so why would God be punishing me? Essentially, I don't know if you stood up at that moment to advocate for yourself and stand firmly in your beliefs and in your values and in your person. Does that make sense?
I didn't get a chance because Max kind of took over at that point.
Right.
It got really ugly and I left.
Yeah. And oftentimes, whether it's because we don't have, whether it's strength or confidence or belief in our own self to respond to the accusation of self-sabotage in that moment, or like that, somebody just pulls you away because they're protective of you. It can take growth to respond quickly to that person who is saying, well, you know, you're self-sabotaging, you know, you're being punished, you're being this, you're being that, and to quickly turn around and be like, no.
How can a man of God say that to somebody? How?
I'm sorry?
How does somebody who is a man of God who's supposed to be the example of Jesus, mind you. Say that to somebody.
I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of times when we don't understand something, we can fear it. So that I can't speak on that person's behalf, of course. But if I recall correctly, you've told me that you have people who were turning to you and turning away from what he was saying. What better way to grab that control again than by casting these accusations? I will say, from a personal perspective, my faith, we don't believe that God punishes. We don't fear God. In fact, one of the cornerstones is we recognize that God is humble, and a lot of our prayers is saying thank you. So, to give an example, in one of our holidays, we have a song that is very traditional to sing, and essentially what we're saying is, you freed us from bondage. That was enough. Thank you. That was more than enough. But then you gave us the Torah. Oh my gosh, thank you. You didn't have that. You already did something for us. That was enough. But then you did this. That's enough. But then you led us to a new land. That's enough. I mean, it's saying thank you so much. So I wasn't raised to fear. I was raised to say thank you, and to recognize the little blessings, and to say, you don't have to do any more for me. Thank you so much.
It confused me when I was a kid because my dad sat me down on my bed and said, well, if you ask God enough times, he'll give it to you. And it stuck with me, and it confused me because I've kind of always known about the rules without being taught, which is one of the other reasons why I will tell you I'm a prophet, because you're kind of just born into a belief system of right and wrong and of the way things are just meant to go. At least it's my own personal experience with these gifts. And I remember going to my mom and telling my dad too, and saying, we're not supposed to be asking, we're supposed to be saying thank you.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be rejoicing in what the blessings are, because the sad thing, especially in the United States, the society is so big about what do you have. Money is more present than God. It's all about what you have, what you can spend, and how much are you spending. There's nothing else.
Yeah.
It's so depressing.
Yeah.
It's not the way it's supposed to be.
No, I'll say when I have my conversations before I go to bed, I always say thank you. I will always say thank you for the day that I had, even when it's been a particularly bad day.
Yes.
Or a crappy day, or I've been frustrated, or I'll be very transparent. I was hormonal and things just are like 1,000 times worse. I will still say thank you for the day that I had. Here's the good stuff. Here's where I was frustrated. I know I got to learn something. I know I'm going to figure it out. There's a reason. There's a reason for all this. So thank you. Thank you for the day.
That's exactly how my evenings go when I talk to him, is just thank you. Thank you for all that you do and all that you give, and to allow me to be yours and allowing me to be used. And the more I say that to him, the harder things get. And I'm just like, okay, whatever you got for me, I will be okay, because in the end, all it is a transition from this to something else.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are afraid of that transition.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating because we still have choices up there. When I've died, yes, I've died. That's a whole other podcast. We still have.
You can choose to come back.
Yeah. And even when I had lost my pregnancy before my oldest son, I remember arguing with God about saving that baby, and him saying, no, like, sorry, that's not the way this is going to go down today. He'll be back, but right now I need him.
Yeah.
And I lost that child.
Yeah.
But he came back.
Yeah.
But it's just, everything's going to be okay, you guys. Even at the hardest days, there's still so much to be blessed for. We have a roof over our heads, clothes on our backs, water, food in our bellies, and we don't need the rest of it. The rest of it's a gift.
Yep.
So,
and if you have it, if you have an abundance, we just encourage you just to be grateful for it, because not everybody
celebrate
has
it. Yeah,
So
celebrate
just
it.
celebrate and be grateful for it. And yeah, but all that being said, we have a really, really, what I think is going to be a super special and super fun episode that we're going to be recording soon. We do have a guest coming on. In some earlier episodes, we were like, reach out to us if you want to come on with us. You know, if you are comfortable doing that, come on. Stacy will do a past life regression. And we had people reach out. We have our first one scheduled.
I'm so excited about this.
We will be recording that very soon. So you'll hear about the whole process of what this person will experience. So that way, if you're interested in doing this privately, you'll know what to expect. But one of the main reasons, aside from this is just how Stacy and I talk, but one of the reasons why we talked about, you know, the loss of Pickles and grief and, you know, a quick past life with me and self-sabotaging and, you know, where different faiths. I mean, I know it felt like we were all over the map today, but we really weren't, because all this is going to come back to when you have sessions with us or you do a regression session, because it can bring up stuff, and it can bring up how you handle things in the past and how you're handling things now. And whether that past is 10 years ago or 2000 years ago.
I was going to say lifetimes ago. It's
yes,
still there.
It's still impacting how you handle things today. So, you know, a lot of the stuff we say is to encourage you to do some introspection. And you can always reach out to us over email with any questions you might have. Based on the nature of the question, we might bring it onto the podcast. We will not reveal names.
Nope.
We will make sure that any type of identifying information remains confidential. If you want to schedule anything with us, well, let me step back. Our email, thedivinebesties@gmail.com. Don't hesitate to reach out. If you want to schedule anything with us, thedivinebesties.com, and go to our website. We got our bestie intro offers still good through the end of September. I'm saying everything, Stacy. September 21st.
September 21st, which when this comes out will be on Sunday. And y'all, come on, let's go. If you haven't VIP'd yet, you need to, so you can get the address. But 2:00, September 21st, Largo, Florida. We're going to be doing a meet and greet and doing this lovely little podcast live and on video and within a studio audience, to where we're walking around with microphones, asking questions, or letting me just feel out and seeing who comes through or what comes through to talk to somebody. We're going to have a great time. It's going to be, we even have little door prizes and goodie bags for you guys to look at. So it'll be fun. So if you guys hear this before the 21st, come on. So, all right.
You've got to email us to let us know, because there is only a certain amount of seats available. Truly. We're going to keep this intimate. So you've got to reserve your spot. So again, email us if you want to come, thedivinebesties@gmail.com, and we'll get you on the list. And I promise you'll get a response. If you're not friends with us, friend us on Facebook.
Please
follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok. We're getting more and more daring with our reels. So
I was going to say, I'm so excited about this.
It's always a journey.
It's weird, and we're creating it, and we're so thankful for you guys to be a part of all of this with us. And like Jen said, you know, just hit us up with email and follow us. And thank you for being with us. All right, Jen, close this out, my love. Let's go.
All right, we're out.
Bye.
Bye.